Am I the asshole for tricking my coworker into eating MSG? I have a coworker, Trish, who is really into eating authentic cuisines from other countries and not wanting to eat the fake stuff. E.g., she refuses to eat Domino's because according to her, Italians would never eat such a thing. She also claims she has an MSG allergy. There's a Chinese restaurant close by, but we haven't catered from them since she made a large spectacle of stomach pains and headaches when we ordered from them over a year ago. She'd ordered a separate dish of plain steamed veggies and meat, but claimed there must have been cross-contamination and demanded that we not cater from them again. Whenever someone gets Chinese takeout, she loudly talks about how it's fake Americanized Chinese food and that the MSG would give us cancer. She frequently mentions how much she misses the real Chinese food she had when she went to China. Once, like a decade ago. She often comments on my food, I'm Chinese, which I cook from home, saying things like, "Wow, that smells so good. You can tell it's authentic and doesn't have preservatives and isn't catered to white people like the food from that restaurant, she's white." I mostly ignore this. And honestly, I wouldn't even call my food authentic Chinese food. It's just stir-fry with sauce generally. Last week, I volunteered to bring in food for my team of 6 people. Edit. To clarify, Trish is not part of this team, since I know they like the food I make. I do cook with MSG sometimes. It's definitely not something all Chinese people do, but my family does it with certain dishes because it makes things delicious. There were some leftovers, which someone put in the fridge after the meeting, with a note saying anyone could take some. I didn't really think about it, since this is normal. Well, apparently Trish had some of the food I made. At the end of the day, she came by my desk and commented on how delicious my real Chinese food was. She claimed could tell I made it without preservatives or MSG because she would normally get sick within minutes if she accidentally had MSG. She also claimed it tasted just like the food she ate when she was in Beijing. I'm not even from Beijing. After she went on for a few minutes, I just told her that there was actually MSG added to some of the dishes I made. But it was good to know her allergy was cured now, since I wouldn't want her to get sick. She freaked out, and suddenly claimed she had a huge headache and felt like she was going to throw up. She yelled at me for not telling her I put MSG in the food. I didn't realize she would eat it since she normally doesn't eat the communal food and it was intended for my team members, not her. She went to HR because I supposedly tricked her into eating something I knew she couldn't eat. And now I have a meeting with HR next week. IDK how this is going to go. In all honesty, maybe I was kind of hoping to peg down her anti-MSG crusade. But if she had asked, I would have told her what the ingredients were. Am I the asshole for not? Obviously not the asshole. MSG allergies do not exist, and most, but not all, MSG sensitivities are, basically psychosomatic. Nor does MSG have any dangerous negative side effects. These things have been shown in many studies, and, as my second link I shared also discusses, the whole MSG allergy thing originated as an anti-Asian racist myth. Anyone with a real allergy would be incredibly cautious of communal food without knowing the ingredients and at least ask. I cannot imagine how you could be responsible for this with our. You didn't lie about what was in it to get her to eat it, so you did not trick her. Not the asshole. Plus she sounds like a completely pretentious idiot who wants to seem cultured and important, and since she only got her headache after you said something, I'm disinclined to believe her all the more. If she's ever eaten a tomato, by the way, she's had MSG. I've read there's no chemical difference between natural and non. Opening square bracket. Not the asshole. If Trish was truly allergic, she wouldn't be eating random food without knowing the content. You did not force this food on her, not was it part of her department's meal. Does Trish eat tomatoes and cheese? MSG occurs naturally in these foods. You did not trick her. She is drama queen. Not the asshole. Trish is big time. According to her logic, you were not allowed to cook with MSG because you are Chinese, and it does not fit her opinion of what real Chinese food is made with. She made the assumption about what ingredients you would use based on your race. That is in fact racist of her. Who is she to get mad at you for not conforming to her expectations? You should be the one complaining to our about her. Plus, you didn't serve her the food. She took it without asking what was in it. People that have real allergies know to ask what is in the food they are about to eat. She made a fool of herself and was caught in a lie about her allergy. It is the duty of every person with an allergy to ask what is in an unknown dish prior to eating it. I am severely allergic to mollusks and always ask if a dish contains them. She ate unknown food out of a communal fridge. Not the asshole. If she has such a severe allergy, it is on her to check ingredients before eating something, especially if it isn't marked as safe. Her assuming home-made Chinese food wouldn't have MSG in it just shows how ignorant she is in my opinion. As you say, some Chinese people use it and some don't. There's no hard rule about homemade food not having it in. I suspect she freaked out because she was embarrassed you'd caught her out. Not the asshole. I would welcome a meeting with HR if I were you. Her racist presumptions of your ethnicity and culture are horrid and harassment. I grew up in Japan and I have Ajinomoto in my spice cabinet, using it rarely. But I used to eat it by the palmful when I was a kid. The way the crystals pop in the mouth is heaven. She's just too much. I feel for you. Heart. We should ask Uncle Roger. Not the asshole. You've said it yourself, it's not for her. She ate the food without asking and then still complains that it contains MSG. I am from Southeast Asia and for the most part MSG is welcome in almost everything I eat, so if she did more research she would know Asian food isn't as pure as it is. That being said, even though I do not agree with how elitist she has made herself to be, HR might find STH wrong if the way she complains is biased. Best of luck with the meeting, and frankly put, you can use the "I am Asian" card if she says anything about Asian cuisine again. Not the asshole. Please make sure HR is aware of all the things she has been saying. She is a white person and shouldn't be gatekeeping authentic Chinese food. It's also insulting to the food your mom makes. She needs to take it down several notches. She's a huge asshole. Also, she should watch some Uncle Roger YouTubes. NTA. She's a drama queen and attention-seeking She's obviously lying or she would have been sick before you told her. Just tell HR the food was for your team, not the office, and if she had just asked before taking, you would have warned her about it. Unless your HR is full of crap, there's literally no reason for you to get in trouble. Not the asshole. She's extremely obnoxious. If you're going to eat random food that's not packaged, it's best to ask what's in it if you have allergies. I wish you the best luck on your HR meeting. Not the asshole. Trish sounds really fake and illogical. I'm not even Chinese or Asian but use MSG sparingly in the occasional stir-fry. And the way she keeps pegging you for authentic Chinese to me seems like a backhanded compliment. Please walk into that HR meeting and stand your ground. If possible, ask if some of your coworkers can also sign off on Trish's food-shaming habits. Play racist games, win stupid prizes. This MSG bullshit has been long debunked. Not the asshole. She ate something that wasn't for her then got upset when it resulted in her supposed allergy being proved fake. You didn't trick her into eating anything. You made food for your team, and she ate some without your knowledge. If she does have allergies, that's on her to find out what the food is. It would be different if you made food for her and didn't tell her, but you didn't. She sorted out the food and didn't check. Not the asshole. And honestly, you have a much stronger case with HR with her constant mentioning of your race. Normally I'm not one to question people's allergies, but in this case, if she's going to say she's allergic to MSG, she shouldn't also talk about how good Italian pizza is, since MSG is found naturally in tomatoes. Not the asshole. You didn't purposely expose her to a food allergy. The food was not made for her. As someone with food allergies myself, I would never eat food someone else made without first checking that it would be safe for me eat. She clearly knew you made it. She could have asked you first if any of it contained MSG and avoided the whole mess. Not the asshole. Uncle Roger says you need MSG. I think your coworker may be Auntie Helen. I think I'm gonna buy some MSG and cook with it. It sounds tasty. Not the asshole. She took it and could have asked beforehand what ingredients were used. Is there such thing as a pick-me white person? Because she sounds like one confused face. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Sounds like she just wants attention. Not the asshole. Although people on here that claim that people sensitive to MSG are faking it are ta. Without fail, I get massive debilitating migraines and tend to throw up after I've had MSG. My husband thought I was faking it the first time, put MSG in my food as a test. Yes, he was ta, without telling me, and was shocked that the symptoms were there again. And again the third time when I myself thought it was a fluke. Your coworker in this situation is making a mockery of others who genuinely experience bad effects of MSG, so she's ta. Not the asshole. She made assumptions. 1. That authentic Asian food does not have MSG. 2. And that she could eat the leftovers. You are not responsible for either one. My grandma always said she was allergic to MSG. but I have no idea what it did to her. Her lactose intolerance had enough symptoms that I assumed it would be gross. Not the asshole, given this all happened without you even knowing. You didn't stick the food in front of her, mislead her, etc. to make you an asshole in any way here. Not the asshole. Also you, Mr. Nigel NG, would like a word with Trish. Not the asshole, but you could still get in trouble with HR depending on what she said and if they are competent or not. Other people on this subs with bad HR have. Not the asshole. As someone with a bunch of allergies, I don't think there would ever be a time where I would take communal food like that. Even if I knew it wasn't made with anything I'm allergic to, I'd be worried about cross-contamination. What if someone else took some with a fork that came in contact with one of my allergens? I don't think anyone with severe allergies would be stupid enough to take food without at least checking with what it was made of. It's super easy to assume something isn't made with an ingredient, but you don't know until you check. I would suggest going to HR though ASAP, because it wasn't like you said, "Oh hey, here is some MSG free food for you," and then afterwards told her that you actually put it in. Not the asshole. It's not your responsibility to monitor what she eats. Can we get an update after the big meeting? Not the asshole. She is making racist comments and stealing food. I'd bring that up to HR, and if anyone else feels the same, bring them too. She is full of crap and a liar. Not the asshole. If she actually had an allergy, which it sounds like she doesn't, she would know to ask what ingredients are in good before eating it. Common sense to anyone with food sensitivities. So, does she not eat things with celery either? That naturally contains MSG. She could have asked before she just porkily shoved the food into her mouth. People with celiacs have to ask all the time. If she's really so sensitive, she should have taken the responsibility and questioned you beforehand. Not the asshole. By the way, not the asshole. You didn't force her to eat it. I would suggest you talk to HR and clear this up before she tries to make herself a victim. Not the asshole. If she has a food allergy, it's on her to check ingredients before eating something. You didn't set out to trick her. You didn't claim it was MSG free. Be sure to tell this to our. Not the asshole. You could have let her go on with her day, and instead you did the kind, I say kind in case she did end up having a reaction later, thing and told her anyways. Also, she needs to get over herself. I highly recommend the new book Food Americana by David Page. It actually has an entire chapter on her exact hissy fit about Chinese American food. Explains the differences and why they're both awesome and both always evolving. Also touches on Mexican American food, barbecue and other so-called authentic versus American versions of food. Sue not the asshole. Living in Hawaii, some of the local food joints would order MSG in barrels. They went through so much. And damn if it wasn't tasty. Not the asshole. When you talk to HR, be sure to emphasize that you didn't make the food for her, offer her any, or lie to her about what was in the food before she ate it. The leftover food was left in the kitchen for anyone to eat, as a standard practice for the office. Your coworker needs to manage her own allergies, and it was her responsibility to ask about the ingredients before eating any if she wasn't sure it was safe for her. Not the asshole. Beyond MSG allergies being a racist falsehood, MSG has been used in Chinese cooking for quite a while. Source: Salt, by Kurlansky, so it is totes authentic. No, and that's the story you should tell HR, but omit Trish. You brought food for your team. Leftovers in fridge. Trish ate them on her own will. Then came to you to discuss them after she ate it, and at that point she learned of the ingredients. You didn't trick anyone unless she asked you beforehand. I'll say Trish is right about Domino's. I don't know how that place is in business. Not the asshole. Your coworker does seem to be a special type of obnoxious. Although just so you know, it is possible for her to be allergic to some types of MSG and not others. It took me a long time to learn that sometimes MSG is extracted from dried mushrooms or mushroom extract, and sometimes what is called MSG commercially can contain dried mushrooms. I am not allergic to MSG, but I am allergic to mushrooms. So can react to forms extracted from mushrooms or containing mushrooms. I also wouldn't be eating prepared Chinese food without talking to the person who prepared it first though. Not the asshole op. Sounds like she is a drama llama. Not the asshole. Your friend's annoying racial microaggressions and super try-hard attitude are ridiculous and irritating, and I'm guessing HR thinks she's fucking stupid. I wouldn't worry about it. Not the asshole. I get migraines if I consume MSG, and yet I will still do it on occasion, usually with the comment, best headache coming on, because I know I am doing it to myself, but the food is tasty, damn it. However, in this case, when you go to HR and have your talk with them, point out all the time she brings up anti-Asian rhetoric in the workplace. Her guise of eating, authentic, is appalling and offensive to others. How no one has complained about her prior to this is amazing. And #X200B. ETA a word. Not the asshole. MSG is in many things naturally, like Parmesan and tomatoes. It is also in most canned soups and flavored chips and packaged crackers just labeled under natural flavors. Lastly, the origins. If the proverbial MSG allergy were nothing short of racism, and the one study that supported it, the author himself says that it isn't relevant anymore and people should move on. You can't be allergic to MSG. You can only be racist. Not the asshole. Yeah, that MSG thing is just pure unadulterated racism. The amino acid derivative MSG is in everything, but suddenly everyone gets poisoned when it's in Chinese food. It's obvious why. Let her know her racist nonsense is offensive, and she needs to quit fetishizing your culture. Probably help change her tune. Not the asshole, obviously. Not the asshole. As an HR professional, tell them the truth because that is your best defense. You made the food for your team as a shared meal. You didn't put it forth to share with anyone outside of your team. When you found out a person who has issues with MSG had eaten some, you shared with her that the food you made for your team had an ingredient she has complained about in the past. You alerted someone who ate food that wasn't theirs of a possible allergen. Tell HR that you didn't hide the ingredients, you simply accepted someone with an allergy to ask what was in communal food before eating it. She sounds so annoying, lol. Wow. Virtue signaling, pretentiousness, flying about allergies, some low-key racism, and a flair for the dramatic. Sounds exhausting, and I don't think I'd want to hang around in person like her. Not the asshole.